Welcome to day 5. I am really excited to be here. What a week. And I hope you guys have got a lot from it. I hope you've realized how important it is to manage your stress. Mainly because when we're not, stress is such an epidemic right now in the world, and even our kids are now becoming stressed. So our children will learn how to handle stress by watching how you deal with your stress. And if we don't put in the right tools, then we really want to ensure, it's going to affect everyone around us. So it's important for us to be aware of how we showing up. What's my stress personality? So getting clear on what your stress personality is, meaning how do you behave when you're stressed? What are the thoughts that you think? How do you feel? What behaviors do you display? Because they're all going to be an indicator of the kind of person you become when you're stressed. And yes, we do change. Because as I've said, stress is an internal thing. Stress is the cortisol and the adrenaline being pumped into our system. It's our thought patterns, it's our language, it's our ability to process, it's our mindfulness. All of these things contribute. If we're not doing them, or we're not doing them to the best of our abilities, it's going to go against us. So today I wanted to talk about another aspect of managing stress, and that's self-care. Doing things that bring you joy, doing things that feel good for you. Now, they don't have to cost money. And also the other thing we're going to touch base on today is food, because what we eat also influences how we show up and how we feel. So looking at self-care. Now, self-care is a whole nother topic. I've got an ebook out about it. If you'd like a copy of it, post ebook below. But self-care is so important, but a lot of women particularly think that self-care is selfish. Like, if I do something for me that makes me feel good, then I must be being selfish. And I want to assure you that that's actually not the truth. You're actually being selfish by not doing self-care, and let me explain. If you're not doing self-care and you're not filling your cup, how do you have anything left to give to anybody else? This is why so many women feel burnt out and lost and feel like they've got nothing left. They feel so depleted because they're constantly giving to everybody. So when we can nurture ourselves in our self-care, we handle things better. And that's where it relates to stress. Because if we're handling life better, because we're taking care of ourselves, then we're going to stress less. We're not going to get caught up in the little things. We're not going to be bothered by the small stuff. We're going to be able to glide over the top of that and then have the energy and the attention that we need to deal with the big stuff that we've kind of got to face. I also talked about this week about how, one of the 6 steps of the calming sequence was to not ignore what's going on. It's taking it head on. It's, taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, and let's just get it done. So we want to be able to look at that as well. So it all correlates together, and we need to be, it's almost like, you've got to be working the both muscles. We've got to be working both things in order for us to feel better about ourselves. So to be able to do that is one, self-care. Now, what I get my clients to do when they don't know what they can do for self-care or what even would bring them joy, because sometimes we lose sight of that. I remember when I was going through a really hard time, and if you remember that some of the things that can create stress in our lives are really big events. So those big events are death of a loved one, changing of jobs, financial issues, selling a house, getting married, building a house, getting divorced. They're real big things that will bring stress into our lives. So I had like 3 of them all going on at once, and my stress was through the roof. And over a period of time, I had forgotten to take care of me. And it wasn't until a really good friend of mine said to me, hey, what do you do for fun? And I just remember bursting into tears and kind of going, I don't even know what that is. I had lost my joy. So one of the things I get my clients to do now is to write down all the things that they like to do. Things that they like to do as a child, things that they like to do before they were ever married, before they ever had kids, before they ever got into that career, before they ever built that house or got that mortgage, or before they started to probably seriously adult. That is when we need to reflect back. So what were some of the things that brought you joy? What are some of the things that make you feel good? Now, some of them will cost money and some of them won't. So it's grabbing a pen and paper and writing out a list of what brings me joy. Now, some of those things that were on my list was the beach. Now, I love the beach. The beach is my happy place. What I'd realized when this person asked me this question was I had not been to the beach in over a year. So, and the beach is an hour away. That's really sad. So I made plans to go to the beach, and that was amazing. And it really highlighted to me that I really needed to go and find my happy places and go do my happy things. So that was one of them. Another one was spending time with friends. See, when we get stressed, we get so caught up in what's going on in our world that we kind of push away the people that maybe we need to be bringing in closer to us. So reaching out to friends was another thing that I did. So there's just a couple of things that I did, and neither one of them cost money, but they lifted me up. They filled me up. Now, the people that I reached out to were the ones that I have fun with. Now, I have different types of friends that give me different things. So we want to be, bringing that joy and that laughter and that happiness. So how do you do that? Write out what you like. If you like to cook and you haven't been baking for a while, do that. If you like to sew but you haven't done it, find the time. Because if you're going to sit there and use time as an excuse to not do something, then nothing's ever going to change. If you find that something like sewing brings you joy, then find some time to do it, because that hour of sewing that you do will fill your cup up. And then what will happen is you'll cope better with everything else going on. So self-care is really important. Taking care of you, taking time out for you, sitting down and having that cup of tea for 10 minutes of an afternoon if that's what you feel you need to do. The dishes can wait. The dinner can wait. All of these things can wait because they're just added stress. Because if you're not sitting down for that cup of tea of an afternoon, I bet you're saying to yourself, I really should be doing the dishes. I really should be getting dinner ready. I really should be marking those papers if that's what you do for work. Or do you know, I should. So that language will be coming in. So pay attention. Self-care, it's vital. It's like oxygen is what it is. So we need it. We need to be making it a priority. And in the process of making it a priority, it will help us drop our stress down. Because when we're feeling good within ourselves, we cope better. Think about it. When you're in a really good mood and things are really happening for you and you're feeling amazing and everything's flowing, if there's a little hiccup, it's like, that was a hiccup, and we kind of move on. But if we're feeling really low and we're not feeling great and everything seems like it's going wrong and there's this little hiccup, it's almost like it's a catastrophe. It's almost like another nail in the coffin, or we look at it as, oh my God, this is like just another thing that's going wrong in my life. And all of a sudden we have all of these negative thoughts and negative feelings and our stress levels creep up. So being able to mitigate that, being able to take care of you, ensure that you're feeling good within yourself. So if so it's making sure that you're going and doing those exercises, or just going for that quick walk. It's making sure that you're moving your body. It's making sure that you're really getting clear in your thoughts, really being mindful of your thinking and how all that is for you. And then the other thing we want to add to this, so this is like another layer, is what are we eating? Because if we eat crap, we're going to feel like crap. That's just the way it is. If we eat a big McDonald's burger, it's going to make us feel sluggish. Some foods can help improve our mood, and some foods can lower our mood. So part of being able to stay present and in the moment and be able to really take care of yourself is pay attention to the food that you're eating and how you feel. Now, there are certain foods that you can eat that actually have been scientifically proven to improve your mood. And the good news is it's not all that, like, it's healthy, but it's not, a piece of broccoli, for example. Things like really good quality dark chocolate, obviously everything in moderation, but that helps to improve your mood. Nuts and seeds is another one. Bananas, berries, avocado. Instead of reaching for that pack of chips, why don't you reach for a banana, or why don't you reach for some berries, or maybe a handful of, good, cashews or something like that. Like, think about something else that you could do instead of reaching for the junk food. Because when we are stressed, we will either eat or we will not eat. But what happens is our body, when we're stressed, will store fat, right? And so what happens is that if we're eating high fat foods, and that's just like giving it to it. Like, here you are, stressed, you store that fat on my body. I'm giving you all the fat I can possibly find. And yes, I know when we're really stressed, we will crave things like sugar. We will crave things like sweet, salty, high fat foods. We will crave it. But we've got to learn to break the habit of that. So we've got to be really mindful of, I'm stressed right now. So what can I do? So there's a couple of things you can do. You can, check in, am I actually hungry? Because chances are you're not. The other thing is, am I just angry? Like, am I just like in a mood? Because if you are, go for a walk. Have a drink of water and go for a walk. If you're feeling lonely, then instead of reaching for food, call a friend or go for a walk, because it's scientifically proven that when you walk, you actually release endorphins. Now, endorphins help counteract the cortisol and the adrenaline. So do you see how we can actually do other things that will help us in being able to move this stress, lower this stress, become really conscious and mindful of what we're doing, especially when we can feel that stress coming on. So to kind of summarize up the whole entire week, you learn about the psychology of what stress does, how it impacts our thinking skills, how stress impacts us on a physiological level, some of the chronic health issues that can come from high levels of stress for long periods of time, like heart disease, diabetes, depression, anxiety, all of these things. We also learned how to pay attention to how that feels in our body, paying attention to when we're starting to get stressed, and learning to train our brain to recognize what a relaxed muscle feels like as opposed to a stress muscle. The other thing we've also learnt this week is how to use the 6 steps of the calming sequence. So that will just, if you put them into place when you're feeling stressed, that's going to help you. We also learnt to look at our stresses. What are some of the stresses I can avoid? Like, if traffic stresses you out driving to work, then have a conversation with your boss and see if you could go there, half an hour, be a little bit later or a little bit early in work. So therefore you miss the traffic time, and that will mitigate your stress. There's some things we stress about that we don't need to stress about. We learned how to write down our worries, the 4 steps on how to improve that and be able to break down and get more solution focused. Because if we're taking action and being solution focused, well, what can I do? Pivoting it as quickly as we can and not staying in the problem is going to help you be in charge of the problem. So we want to be able to do that. The other thing that we've learned is how to be a little bit more mindful. So how to be in the moment and be present by using all of your 5 senses. Now, this can go even further in being mindful in when you do your basic activities. Like normally when we get in the shower, we turn the water on, we may hop in and then have to dodge the water between the hot and cold till we get that sweet spot, or we run it until we have that sweet spot, then we get in. And then we just sort of maybe sing in the shower, or we just kind of hang out and do our basic stuff, but we're not really mindful in it. We might be thinking about other things. So you want to be going, okay, how can I be more mindful in this? Well, how we do that is we start to pay attention. We start to feel the water running on us. Maybe, we've got a really nice smelling soap, so we want to smell the soap. Pay attention to the lathering, how it feels, watching your thoughts, bringing it back to the moment. These are little things. You can do that in the shower. We can do it when we're eating. Normally we sit there and we shovel our food in and then we're moving on to the next thing. Take time. Taste your food. Feel the textures of your food. Smell your food. Put your knife and fork down in between each bite. Just slow it down so you have time to be more mindful. Think about what you're eating. Is it nourishing your body? Is it going to give you the nutrients that you need? Like these are all things that I know they sound really simple and basic, but we don't do them. And when we do implement them, it ultimately changes how we start to feel. Feelings come first. Feelings will dictate what we do, what we don't do, what we say, what we don't say, our attitudes to life. They come first. So if we can do everything in our power to make sure that the feelings that we have are really good feelings, then we're going to start to feel really good in our world. So part of the stress and stressing less is to be mindful of what you eat, to be mindful in your day-to-day activities. Just take that time and pay attention when you're getting dressed. Feel what the clothing feels like on your skin. Feel the moments of it. Stay present. Learn to train your brain not to be running off down the street like a wild puppy. We want to train it to be under our control, and we do that by implementing these things on a daily basis. So it's not doing them all at once, it's putting one into place. And then when you've got that one going, then put the next thing into place. And when you've got that going, put the next thing into place. And over time, what you're going to have is a sequence of procedures that you can do that are going to help you stay more calm and stress less in your life. So unpack your stress. Don't sweat the small stuff. Be mindful in your day-to-day activities. Move your body. Watch what you eat. Learn the instant calming sequence, those 6 steps that you can do really quickly. Write out your worries and process them. Breathe. I know that one sounds so simple, but we forget to do it properly. So these are things that you can do very quickly, get them into play, have them as part of your habitual habits, and just start to do them. And watch how you cope better with your life. The other thing that I forgot to mention that was your thoughts. Pay attention to how you're thinking. What style of thinking are you doing? Are you catastrophizing right now? Are you overgeneralizing? It always happens. It's never works out for me. Always and never overgeneralizing. Because there's probably that one or two times that it did work out for you, or that it didn't happen. So being careful of what is the language that you're using, and all of these things, when we put them all together, they are what help us to stress less. Because the only other way that you can stress less is, one, get rid of that stress personality, which that is something I can help with if that's what you want to do. Or two, go move into a little shack on an island somewhere. Because we live in modern society, and modern society is stressful, and there is a lot going on in the world right now that is out of our control, but it can be contributing to our stress. So we have to bring it in and go, okay, well, what's in my control? What am I in charge of? And you are only in charge of your own universe. That's it. So how are you going to look after that? By implementing some of these strategies that are going to help you feel like you're coping better, mitigate that stress, get rid of the avoidable stresses, implement the breathing, implement the thought processes, implement all of the sequencing, be mindful of that, move the body, eat better, sleep better. Sleeping's another thing. When we don't sleep properly, we feel more stressed because our body has to work harder. So there are so many things that correlate and contribute to our stress levels that we can actually do something about. So while we can't change what's happening in the world, we can't change the interest rates going up, we can't change the things that are going on, but we can absolutely be in control of how we think, how we feel, and then ultimately how we behave. That's all in our power. So this is the last day. As I said, I'm really excited and I've enjoyed sharing all of this with you. So I've got a few little bonuses. So this is going to be up. You've got the weekend to catch up on all of these, because I know people work, and I know the timing of these lives were not great, but that's how it fitted into my schedule. So what I would like to do is just remind you that I've got that prize draw coming up. So comment this, if you can comment the 6 steps of the calming sequence, you can get a free call with me, strategy session that we can personalize some things that might help you in coping with the stress in your life. The other thing is you'll then also go into a draw to get a free session with me. That is a MACE session. Now, MACE is a phenomenal tool that eliminates negativity at the cause very, very quickly. We don't have to talk about our problems. We can actually just go and get rid of them. It's a shift in paradigm. There's nothing out there like it that I'm aware of. And so we can absolutely get rid of that stressed personality. We can kick it to the curb. So the other bonus that I would like to add is, if you've watched all 5 videos and you've enjoyed my content, I actually have a stress management course that I'll give you guys for free. So you have till the end of the weekend. So Monday morning we'll be closing this group down. So if you want access to my free my course, I'll give it to you for free. The Stress Less Management course, then comment course. If you want any of the extra bonuses that I've talked about, the muscle tension, comment muscle. If you want to go into the prize draw to possibly win a session, then put in the 6 sequence. And also too, if you haven't yet received my Stress Less ebook, comment ebook down below and we will absolutely get them to you. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Please comment, please, share your thoughts. I've given my time to you guys and I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and we will see you soon.